Was the Apostle Paul the original Antichrist? Former minister and Bible college graduate Jeffrey Daugherty raises this and other staggering questions from the New Testament itself. The Christian Whistleblower asks if Jesus' original message has been warped into a fear and guilt-based control matrix. Here's Ali with more.
Thanks, Seb. Daugherty's 35 years of research challenge everyone to consider new perspectives and ask themselves, just what lies behind my religion? Are we born with original sin or the spark of divinity within?
Deep questions, Ali. Thanks. The Christian Whistleblower. We'll be watching.
It's late night in the heartland. Good to see everybody. Good to hear everybody. We are glad you're here. We live in a weird world today. So weird and so out of control is cancel culture that I called up the guy that does that intro that did it 5 years ago and said, hey, I need an update. He no longer will do an update for me, a new thing. He turned down my money because he doesn't do controversial shows anymore. So I say you are part of the problem. Just ridiculous that we have such things going on in our world today. It really is amazing. But it's very good to see everybody on Facebook. Great to see everybody on D Live. Great to see everybody also on Twitter via Periscope. Cousins, we appreciate you as always. Visitors, we're glad to have you. And even you trolls, you slimy little trolls, we know that you mean us harm, but you're here. And because you're here, it helps drive us up in the organic ranking. So real people get to see the show that wouldn't get to see the show just because you're here. So for that, we thank you and we welcome you. And if you ever get any balls, you can make some calls when we open up the phone lines, but I won't continue to hold my breath. The good thing is I'd have been dead a long time ago. Tomorrow we have a special showing at 10 a.m. Central Time. At 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 Eastern, I'll be joined by Dr. Shiva. You know Dr. Shiva from his work on the stupid 19 virus. You know Dr. Shiva from his work on the election. He was the rightfully elected Republican nominee for Senate in the state of Massachusetts. It was stolen from him. He'll be with us for a few minutes tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'll be looking forward to talking with Dr. Shiva, 10 a.m. Central Time, right here on this channel. And on tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Thursday night, we'll be welcoming I don't think the creator, but the head guy now of the Nanosoma. So you'll want to save your Nanosoma questions and be there Thursday night. His name is Richard, nice fellow from Australia. So we'll be doing podcast excellence, hemisphere crossing podcast excellence. So looking very much forward to that. Tonight, we're going to get into prophecy. Tonight, we're going to get into communism. And tonight, I'm going to take another shot at showing you and telling you and hoping that you will begin to see and realize that prophecy is communism. And communism is prophecy. Bible prophecy is a communist propaganda that is designed to not only make you stand by while they conquer you, but to make you cheer them on while they conquer you. I have 41 years in study across the spiritual spectrum, 20 years, 25 years really, as a pastor, 5 years of it, not on a full-time basis, 20 but on a full-time basis. Bible college degree, over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical text. And I'm here tonight to tell you that after 41 years of study, Daniel, Matthew 24, Revelation, prophecy is communism. And if you are smarter than me, you're welcome to call in when I open up the lines, but you're not welcome to be a jerk in the chat room because it's a call-in show. Did I mention it's a call-in show? We want you to call in if you have questions. Don't be a coward and try to clog up the chat room with them because they'll be removed. So, folks, we're going to get right into this. It's a bit of a lengthy presentation, and I just hope that it can get through your thick craniums. I really do. Is Bible prophecy a communist propaganda? Is Bible prophecy communist propaganda? Yes, it is. And we're going to show you tonight, as I always do, what the objective text says. See, I trust you and I trust the text. Every other Bible person you see on YouTube or on television, they'll never show you the text. They'll never break it down into the original languages because they can't sell what they're selling if they stick just by the text. I go by what the objective text says, and getting ready to almost have... Oh, yeah, I'm allergic to bullshit. And whenever I start talking about prophecy, it kicks up like that. So we're going to talk about what the objective texts say. And the text doesn't care what you think. The text doesn't care what you feel. And the text doesn't care what you believe. I know I should have muted, but I thought the sneeze, the allergic to bullshit, that would work really well. And it did. Come on, you got to chuckle out of it. Even those of you that don't like me are like, So anyway, here we go, folks. If you're going to understand prophecy, you have to understand what a prophet is. And you have to understand what a prophet is in the literature. In this case, the literature would be the Old and New Testament, mainly the Old. So if you're going to understand what a thing is, if you're going to understand what a person is, what an office is, if you will, you have to understand what they are according to the literature. Not what you think about the literature, but about the literature. And I love a good cup of coffee, but I always have heavy cream, and they didn't have heavy cream, and it's just half and half, and it's good, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Oh, well, anyway, let's read and understand what a prophet really is based upon the literature. This is 1 Samuel chapter 10. As you approach the city, you'll meet a group of prophets, or a band of prophets, as it says in the King James. You'll meet a band of prophets. So the first thing you need to understand and recognize there is that prophets hang out in bands. Prophets hang out in groups. Who hangs out in bands? I know guys that are in a band. I know Chris Jericho, he's in a band. I know Brian from Kicks, he's in a band. They hang out in bands. That's because there's a group of them. And this group, this band of prophets, was coming down from the high place, and they were preceded by harps and tambourines and flutes and lyres, and they were prophesying. So what were they doing? They were playing instruments, and they were prophesying. And the spirit of the rat bastard came upon them, and they were talking to the king, said, you'll start prophesying with them. And he turned into another man. What are they always trying to do when you go to a concert or you have someone playing in a bar? They want you to sing along. Everybody, come on, sing along. So a prophet, in your mind, doesn't mean what a prophet really meant in the original languages. In the original languages, the prophet was a jester, a joker, a juggler. One of these guys that you see there, that's what the prophets were. And again, a company of prophets met him. A band of prophets met him. And he prophesied among them. He sang with them. He sang the chorus with them. It came to pass that he prophesied among the prophets. And they said, boy, I didn't know Saul could sing. Saul's amongst the prophets. Therefore it became a proverb, is Saul also among the prophets. And when he made an end of prophesying, they came to the high place. In the Old Testament, in the original literature, in the original text, prophecy always meant singers, dancers, jugglers, jokers, minstrels, and bards. If you want to know what an Old Testament prophet is, just go on your favorite search engine and type in the bard on The Witcher. Type in the bard on The Witcher. You will see what a prophet is, ladies and gentlemen. So the first thing to understand is that your conception of what a prophet is hopelessly flawed. It's based on a modern misappropriation of the original idea of what a prophet was. One more time, prophets have always been singers, dancers, jugglers, jokers, minstrels, and bards. That's what prophets are. And when you understand what a prophet is, you can begin to understand more what prophecy is. Prophecy is stories. Prophecy is tales. Prophecy is songs. It's not meant to be taken literally, and it's not meant to be believed literally. You've just been literally deceived. So you are believing minstrels, jokers, jesters, jugglers, and singers, thinking that they're telling you the future. Now, by the time that AD 70 rolled around and the Jews were expecting deliverance in AD 70, they had fallen into the same trap you have pretty much. They had forgotten that prophets were what they were, and they started appropriating the idea that the prophets were these super spiritual people that could tell you the future. And folks, in case you're wondering today, anybody that says they're a prophet, a seer, they're still clowns, they're still jesters, they're still jokers, they're still jugglers. And did I mention they're clowns? Because they really are. And if you believe the stories in your script, I know you call it the scripture, but I call it your script. If you believe the stories in your script, remember what the Jews were expecting. The Jews were expecting their Messiah to return at any moment. They were expecting their Messiah to return. If you believe the stories, there was a growing number of them that was expecting plastic Jesus to be the Messiah. If you believe the stories in your script, these Jews in Jerusalem were expecting the Messiah to return around 70 AD. They were laying palm branches in the street. They were putting their coats in the street. They were welcoming him as a savior. They fully expected him to defeat Rome and restore Israel to prominence. They were waiting for the same stuff in March of 70 AD as you're waiting for in March of 2021 AD. And by August, it was all over. And I'm not making predictions, but y'all better wake up soon. They were expecting the same things you are. They too were looking for signs. They too were looking for wonders. They too were studying your script. They too were expecting deliverance. They too were expecting prophecy to be fulfilled. They too were expecting a coming Savior. It wasn't prophecy then, and it's not prophecy now. What is it? It is scripted prophecy. What is scripted prophecy? Scripted prophecy is when a group such as the Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Limpets, the Sanhedrin, the Bilderbergers, that whole globalist New World Order group that no one else will identify, but I consistently identify them for you as the Sanhedrin. It's when they decide that, hey, this is what we want to see happen. This is what we're going to make happen. And we're going to use this thing called prophecy. We're going to misuse, abuse, and completely change this thing called prophecy because people are stupid enough to believe it. And we are going to use it as a tool to say that God says this is what is going to happen. And because God said it's going to happen, many mentally irrational people will say, oh, God says, so if they say that God says, then I have to believe it, and I'm going to say that God said. Let me ask you a question. Did God say it to you? No. But it's in the Bible. Was that written to you? No. But because they say that God said, you believe that God said, so you say that God said, and now you are talking it and manifesting it like God said it. That is scripted prophecy. They decide what they want to do. They sell it to you as predictions for the future. And then you believe that's what's going to happen, and you manifest that's what's going to happen. You pray for it, you believe it, and you manifest it, and you manifest it, and you manifest it, and you help bring it about by the power of your manifestation. Because even though you're stupid, you're still divine, sovereign, and free. Even though you're stupid, you still have the spark of divinity within, and you've got the spark of creation. And even though you're dumber than a box of rocks, you still have manifesting power within you. And you're allowing it to be hijacked and used by a bunch of singers, clowns, jesters, jugglers, jokers. That's what scripted prophecy is. And the Jews in AD 70 were expecting the same things that you're expecting today. And remember, they were doing the same exact stuff then that you're doing now. They were seeing the signs of the times. They were seeing the Roman troop movements. They were hearing about the Roman troop movements. They understand that there was siege ramps going up. They could see that there were more troops moving in. They understood things were going wrong. They understood they were receiving intel about the Roman government activities. They were noting the signs of the times. They were seeing the signs of the times, just like all of you Xtions are today. Jeff, why won't you even say the word? Because it's a magic word. It's an activation word. It's a trigger word, and I don't want to give it any power. You see, back then, they had their jokers and prophets, their joker/prophets, telling them that the day of the rat bastard was at hand, and so do you. And I'm here today to tell you that they were expecting the same things you're expecting, and you're about to get the same things they got. And just like you, they were silly enough that they saw the Romans forming. Did they resist them? No, they didn't resist them because it was God's will. Why would we resist the Romans when they're the signs of the times? Our redemption draweth nigh. So just like you, they were stupid. They saw that the Romans were there. They saw the Romans begin to surround the city. They saw the siege ramps being built. They saw the wall around the wall being built. Anybody that wasn't stupid would have left. But they didn't, because that was the signs of the times, and they knew that their redemption draweth nigh. You sit here today. You sit here today, and you're seeing the same signs. You're seeing the cities burn. You're seeing liberties being taken away. You're seeing rights being taken away. You're seeing communist agenda pushed down our throats. Are you resisting it? No, you're not. Because stupid was as stupid does. You're saying, oh, it's signs of the times. Redemption draweth nigh. Not only are you not resisting it, it's a communist takeover, and I'm going to prove it to you. Not only are you not resisting it, you're cheering it on. Go, commies, go. Go, commies, go. Go, commies, go, because you think it's the signs of the times, and your redemption draweth nigh, and all you're going to get is destroyed like the dumb, stupid Jews, and the stupid yous are going to find the same end. Get ready. Get ready. So let's get into it. Let's look at Daniel chapter 9, verse 24 through 27, and that's going to bring us smack dab into 2 Thessalonians as well. So I'm going to explain things to you tonight that you've never had explained to you before. I'm going to show you things tonight that you've never had shown to you before, and I challenge all of you brilliant scholars out there to put up or shut up. Call in. Have a take, don't suck, be polite, or just hush, because you know you're outgunned, you know you're outclassed, you know that I know, and you know that you don't. So let's break this down and make it plain and clear for those that have ears to hear. Let's show you how it's going to be for those that really have eyes to see. And the rest of you, I don't have time to be concerned with you anymore. I really don't. I'm throwing keys in cells. I'm going cell to cell, throwing in the key. If you want to pick it up and set yourself free, great. If you don't, you can sit there and rot. I don't have time to worry about you. But I would ask you this. You watch a lot of people on YouTube. Ask yourself why I'm the only one that shows you the scriptures the way I do. I'm the only one that breaks it down into the original language, shows you the original words. I'm the only one that shows you the text the way that I show you the text. And I want you to ask yourself why that is. Why is old Jeff the only one empowering you to unindoctrinate yourself? And then ask yourself why you still support and watch those others. Just a little something. So as we read Daniel 9:24 through 27, I'm going to read it. I'm going to show it to you. And then we're going to break it down into modern language that we can all understand. So if I can get my wits about me here, we'll go to Daniel chapter 9, verses 24 through 27. This is heavy on prophecy tonight, heavy on Bible, but this is what's happening outside your door. This is what's happening in the streets right now. This is your tomorrow and your day after. This is your next week. This is your year. This is real. This is real as it gets. This is as real as it gets. Okay. 70 weeks are determined upon your people and upon your holy city. Let's just start right there. You've got to break these things down. What does 70 mean? 70 means a cardinal number. 70 comes from the word Sheba, which means 7. It means a number. It doesn't necessarily mean 7 or 70. It means a cardinal number. What is a cardinal number? See, one thing that we have to do if we want to be true scholars is when we get to a word that we don't understand, we have to look it up, because if you don't look it up and you go beyond it, your contemplation, your understanding of everything after that can be reduced by up to 60%. So let's go ahead and show you exactly what a cardinal number is, so you will know what it is and you won't miss out. And oh man, here we go again with the this happens when I do a lot of screens, but you know what? That's all right. You don't need to see my smiling face. A cardinal number, ladies and gentlemen, in mathematics, cardinal numbers, or cardinals for short, they're not red numbers. I know some of you are looking for the words of Christ in blood red of innocence, but that's not what we're talking about here. Cardinal numbers are a generalization of the natural numbers used to measure the cardinality or the size of sets. A cardinal is a finite set, and it's a natural number. And the number of elements in the set, the definite cardinal numbers, and denoted using the Hebrew symbol. What the hell does that mean? Well, let's see if Wikipedia can tell us something about them. They're special numbers, okay? They're special kind of numbers. So we'll just leave it at that right now. The cardinal numbers are special numbers. We'll just stop with that so we can understand and not get deep in the woods. But cardinal numbers are special numbers. So this number, this 70, it's a weird kind of special number. And it's a number that can't necessarily be nailed down to just mean 70. It doesn't just mean 70 necessarily. It's a weird number. It's a special number. It means some weird stuff. It means some special stuff. It's from Sheba, Queen of Sheba, without other number, before singular noun year, a predicate noun omitted. It's an interesting number. It's an interesting number. So there's 70 weeks. What's a week? Well, a week, again, it goes back to Shabua, Sheba, Shabua. It's a period of days and years, a heptad, a week. Again, it comes from Sheba. We're not really sure what it is, but we're sure that it's a specified time. It's a specified time. And yet, the people that want to tell you they're teaching you Bible prophecy want to tell you that it is for sure 70 years. It's 70 years, and they don't know that it is that. All we really know is that it is a special appointed time. All we really know for sure, ladies and gentlemen, from those words is that there's a period of time, a special period of time. It might be 70 years, it might not be 70 years, but when you watch people build this big show out of it saying 70, well, they're not being honest with you because they don't really know and they haven't really read it themselves. So it's a determined period of time. Might be 70, not 70. And it's decreed. What does decreed mean? It's divided. It's determined. It's been determined upon your people. It's kind of hanging over their head. There's this time, this figurative time. Again, see, it's not just 70 years. It's figurative. There is this special time that is hanging over Daniel's people. Who were Daniel's people? Daniel's people were the Jews. So there's this special time that's been hanging over Daniel's people, the Jews. Are you with me? That's very important that we understand that it's a special time hanging over the head of Daniel's people, the Jews. And it's, well, I might have misspoke because this is a hard word. I want you to look at this word with me because really we've been told they're hanging over the head of Daniel's people, and it is sort of, but I don't think it's really talking about Daniel's people. I really don't think it's talking about Daniel's people. I think it's talking about us, the opposite of what we think. And I think it's because it's the word Volk, which is a German word, which means all the people. And I think it's talking about the Gentile Daughertyans. That's everybody that's not of the chosen people. But you'll see what it says is the city of Jerusalem shuts it up, restrains, and withholds whatever's going to happen to these people. And that the city of Jerusalem is the key. So let's look at this again and break it down again just in the original language and see if you don't see what I'm talking about and why I'm talking about it. Sometimes it's easier to see when you go to the interlinear, because that's going to show you, remember it's Hebrew, so it's going to be written backwards from our perspective. But 70 weeks, again, we know this is a specified time, not necessarily 70 weeks. It's determined, it's kind of hanging over your people. We've always thought that was Jews, like I just did. But when you look at the word, what does the word mean? Folk. Folk is it's actually Volk in German. It's a very, 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 very interesting word. And it means the populace, the spirit, the nation. And I believe that this is saying that this period of time is hanging over the head of Jerusalem, and it's blocking what can happen to the folk. If we look at it, it just means people. The plebeians, the common man, the peoples, the tribes. See, that it doesn't speak to me of the Jews. The tribes, the peoples, the plebeians, that's the normal people. This is the non-Jews. So the 70 weeks are actually determined upon the non-Jews. And I think, and it's funny, that's Amica, it's almost America, isn't it? It's almost America. Look at that. Lay a little Hebrew on me. It's almost America. Almost. But not quite. So a period of time is hanging over the folk, the Volk, the not Jews. And the holy city, we know that's Jerusalem. And what's it going to do? It's going to finish. It's withholding. The holy city of Jerusalem is restraining. The holy city of Jerusalem is shutting up. The holy city of Jerusalem is withholding. The holy city of Jerusalem is stopping something from happening. Your holy city is stopping something from happening. It is stopping something from happening, ladies and gentlemen. That is vital that you see that. That's powerful that you see that. And I'm going to try to keep going back and forth between the regular language and the Hebrew and not lose you. So there's a period of time hanging over the heads of the Gentile Daughertyans. That's us, the good guys and the good girls. And the sacred city of Jerusalem shuts it up, restrains it, and withholds it. It's the key. Now, this screams out to anybody that knows the Bible, 2 Thessalonians 2:6. And I'm going to show you what 2 Thessalonians 2:6 means. And this is where you're going to start learning stuff you've never learned, and you're going to start understanding stuff you've never understood, and you're actually already understanding stuff that you've never understood, because that's just the way we roll here. So let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2:6. And remember, Jerusalem is shutting up, restraining, and withholding. And as we get over here to, sorry, I'm showing you too much. As we get over here to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, let me get in the proper position. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse number 6. Okay. So I can say this to you now because now you do know. And sorry, the only way to get this to show again is to restart the computer, and that would kick us off the show. We're not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. So back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And let me do that and see if it helps any. Okay. 2:6. And now you know what withholdeth. Now you do know what withholdeth, because you saw in Daniel that it specifically said that Jerusalem was withholding. Jerusalem was withholding. Jerusalem was holding back. And as we look at that word, withholdeth, see, it's also restraining. To hold fast, to hold back, to restrain. That's what the holy city of Jerusalem was doing. It was restraining and holding back the non-Jewish people, all the rest of us. Now you know what was restraining. What was restraining? Jerusalem was restraining. So that the Volk might be what? Might be revealed, might be uncovered, might be brought to light. See, it wasn't until that temple got destroyed in Jerusalem that the things that were hidden to the Gentile mind became clear. It wasn't until that happened that the things that were veiled in our minds became unveiled. It was our revelation, our apocalypsis. It was our unveiling. It was at that time when things that were obstructed became unobstructed. We understood our inner makeup. It was made plain and manifest, and it became visible to us. It became visible to us. This is bandied about in Bible colleges. What's the mystery of iniquity? What is it that holds, that withholdeth until it be taken out of the time? It restrains until it, and will continue to restrain until it's taken out of the way. Was Jerusalem taken out of the way? Yes, it was. In AD 70, it was burned to the ground. And as you watch this, you're going to be amazed. Jerusalem was restraining the knowledge of the Daughertyans, and it wasn't until it got destroyed, and there's a reason why that enlightenment began to come to us big time when it got taken out of the way. There's no doubt about it, and I'm going to show you there's no doubt about it as we continue on with this amazing study. This is great stuff. This is powerful stuff. You won't see it anywhere else. And that's just the way we do here. That's just the way we do. So, now you know what withholdeth the city of Jerusalem, the temple, and something in the temple specifically, that it might be revealed. For the mystery of iniquity, whatever was going on in that temple was a mystery of iniquity. Was it blood sacrifice? Yes. Was it child sacrifice? Yes. Was it child abuse? Yes. Was it all the horrible things that we can't talk about on YouTube? Yes, that was going on there. But there was a reason why it was going on there. It was supporting something else. And that stuff was already working then. And it was continuing to work while Jerusalem stood. But then Jerusalem was taken out of the way. And according to your script, Thessalonians was written about 50 AD, about 20 years before Jerusalem was taken out of the way. Of course, that's just a story. It was written with the rest of both the new Jewish scriptures and the Christian Bible, the new Jewish scriptures and the Extant Bible. They were both written about 100 AD, but they're trying to support the story. See, this shows you the essence of scripted prophecy. They knew Jerusalem was going to be taken out. They backdated it like it was a prophecy. So you say, oh, wow, they know things. But the key takeaway is a period of time's hanging over us, the non-Jewish people. The temple was the key. And once the temple got taken out of the way, we would know things and see things that we hadn't before. Now the temple's out of the way, and I can show it to you. That which withholdeth the restrainer is simply the destruction of Jerusalem, which happened in 70 AD. And all of the balderdash prophecy silliness goes away when this text is compared with text. Text compared with text. Text compared with text makes it very, very easy. As we're going through it verse by verse, you can see it. Daniel 9, 24 and 27 told us the city and the temple were holding back something else that was going to happen. The destruction of Jerusalem and the temple opened the way for the fulfillment of the balance of 2 Thessalonians 2, 6 through 12. So what happened in 2 Thessalonians 2, 6 through 12? Sorry, there's really no smooth way to do this. I just have to switch back and forth. 2 Thessalonians 2, 6 through 12. Let's look at what exactly happened in those verses. Okay, so we know what's withholding. It's Jerusalem. It's the temple. There was a mystery of iniquity in the temple. Many iniquities. Blood sacrifice, child sacrifice, cannibalism, sexual abuse of children and other people, the killing of the firstborn. I've shown you all this before. I've proven it to you, and it was happening within the temple itself. And it continued until the temple itself was taken out of the way. And that's probably why the temple was taken out of the way, by demand of righteousness. It had to be removed. And that's why they're trying to build it again so they can start doing this again. And then the wickedness will be revealed. We are revealing the wickedness right now. And of course, they want you to think that the rat bastard's coming back and is going to destroy us. It's not going to happen. They think that remember, Satan is the adversary. This is written from their perspective. They think that after Jerusalem was destroyed and we found out the truth, that they were going to come back and be able to destroy us. That's what scripted prophecy is. The communists taking us over. Because it was easy to control us when we thought that we were filled with original sin. It was easy to control us when we thought we had to go on bended knee to somebody else's savior for salvation. But once we realize that we're born not with original sin, but the spark of divinity within, once we realize we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free, and that happened when this temple got destroyed. It made it plain. Now we don't need you anymore. And it's been 2,000 years, and Christianity is about ready, Exianity is about ready to die, and they are threatening that the rat bastard and plastic Jesus are going to come back and get all the bad guys like me, all the adversaries. That word just means adversary. And all the people that won't do what they do. We won't do the horrible things they do. We won't eat flesh. We won't drink blood. We won't support the abuse of children, and they call us unrighteous. Their puny God has been sending us delusion, trying to get us to believe lies, but guess what? A lot of us ain't buying their bullshit anymore. They're not buying their bullshit anymore because we know that they didn't believe the truth. And we know they had pleasure in unrighteousness, doing all those horrific things. And because the temple was destroyed and because they were outed, now we're able to know and see and figure and tell. We've been able to have eyes that see. We've been able to have ears that hear, at least some of us. And these are the things that have been shown forever. There's no need for speculation anymore. By understanding these verses, we understand that it's the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70, and the rest of the verse describes our waking up and opening up and knowing and understanding. And we're about to show how they say that they are going to send communism to put us back in our cages, those of us that are open. Most of you that are Christians, that are irrational, that are ex-gens, you are still blind and you're rooting them on. But we're trying to set your dumbasses free. We're doing our best. And hopefully, maybe one or two of you might get the stupid knocked off of yourself and understand a little bit. Because I know not all of you are bad people. And believe it or not, this is me being nice. Daniel is all about how the usual suspects are destroyed and the Volk rise again. That's what it's supposed to be. They have ruled too long. Destruction's been decreed upon the usual suspects. Destruction's been decreed upon their world matrix. Their own script declares that we will ultimately be victorious. It says that their city will be destroyed. It says their temple will be destroyed, and it was. And they still don't have another one. They're still destroyed, ladies and gentlemen. But in 2,000 years, we have yet to put our victory into reality. We have yet to move into our divinity. We have yet to move into our sovereignty. We have yet to move into our freedom. That's why I'm here. Now, any objective scholar will admit, especially after this, that there's no doubt that Daniel 9 and 2 Thessalonians 2 are pegged to Matthew 24 and the events of 70 AD. There's no doubt about it. Let me show you why there's no doubt about it. Daniel told us that there was a period of time that the temple that's been hanging over the Gentiles, that's us, and that the temple was keeping us from being free. And then we saw that the temple was going to be destroyed, 2 Thessalonians 2, and that would set us free. And Matthew 24:15 says, so when you see standing in the holy place, the abomination of desolation described by Daniel the prophet, let the reader understand. So Matthew is saying, look, the holy place, there is no holier place than the city of Jerusalem to the mind of the Jew. The abomination of desolation, which Daniel just told us was the destruction of the temple, and they remind us that Daniel told us that, and he says, understand what I'm saying. But you see, they don't leave it once because they know that you're irrational, and they know that even if you want to learn, you're going to have a hard time learning because you've been lied to for 2,000 years. So Daniel first says, when you see standing in the holy place, the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, get this. And then Mark 13 says, so when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it should not be, let the reader understand. Do you think that if you had read this, Matthew 24:15, so when you see standing in the holy place, abomination of desolation, spoken about Daniel the prophet, and if you had read, so when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it should not be, let the reader understand, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Do you think if you were reading that and you looked up and saw Roman soldiers building siege ramps around Jerusalem, do you think it might have went ding, 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 ding? Do you think if you're reading this then and saw that it might have made you go, oh, shit, maybe he was talking about, But they don't even leave it to that. They give you a hint in Matthew 24. They give you a bigger hint in Matthew 13:14. And then Luke spells it out. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, You'll know that her desolation is near. Get the hell out. So all you have to do is let text tell you what text means. If Luke says Jerusalem surrounded by armies is the desolation, then you know good goddamn and well what abomination of desolation is, and you know good goddamn and well what Daniel was talking about. You may not like my language, but you can't argue that logic. It's your script. I'm not making this up. Daniel 9, 2 Thessalonians 2, Matthew 24, it all ties to 70 AD. There's no doubt about it. And it was in 70 AD where the supernatural power of the usual suspects ceased. Up until 70 AD, the usual suspects had some supernatural power working for them. But as of 70 AD, it ceased. Oh, you know what? I remember that if I go and just take away the green screen and put none, that you'll see me again. Okay. That makes it a little bit better. Why did their supernatural power end in AD 70? There was supernatural power that was blinding the eyes of the Gentiles. There was supernatural power that was blinding the eyes of everybody that wasn't Jews. There was some stuff like, how did those Jews do what those Jews do? They had some Jew-do back then. It's like Judo, only different. How does a Jew do what a Jew do? They had some Jew-do. Not Judo, but some Jew-do. But the Jew-do ended in AD 70. Why did the Jew-do end in AD 70? Because of the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. It eliminated any supernatural power that the unusual suspects were using until then. Why? Because the temple contained the ark, and the ark was likely an interdimensional portal. They don't have that anymore. The destruction of the temple destroyed the ark, which destroyed the interdimensional portal. And they weren't getting help from another dimension anymore. The Zio dominions haven't been able to come across the dimensional portal anymore. They haven't been able to come from the other side. They don't have that Jew-do anymore. The playing field has been leveled. May the best humans win. See, that's what 2 Thessalonians 2 is talking about. The end of the Jew-do. Like judo, but different. Ooh. Now the playing field has been leveled. But you didn't know it had been leveled until just now. Now that we've unmistakably pegged this passage to 70 AD, we can now understand it very easily. Context is a wonderful thing, which is why Christians ignore it so. They can't allow you to understand the context because then it makes sense and they're out of a job. We got to look at Matthew 24 a little bit now, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see it was all perfectly fulfilled in 70 AD. It all perfectly fits into Daniel 9. And then we'll show you how it all perfectly fits in Revelation. This stuff really is that easy if you just allow it to be that easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's super simple. It's super easy. As easy as having focused life force energy beamed into your home or to your phone. You can get a high consciousness field beamed to you on demand. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com. Click on the Focus Life Force Energy, FLFE logo to learn more. Let's look at Matthew 24. And I'm not going to spend a whole long time going through it, but we're going to hit some highlights and show you what we're talking about. So Matthew 24 all got fulfilled in AD 70. I know that your jokers, your jesters, your jugglers, and your clowns want to tell you that this is coming in the future. It's already been. And whenever they tell you that this is future, they're preaching Jesuit doctrine, because nobody up until the Jesuits ever said that this was future. They all knew it was past, but it's the Jesuits and not one of those low integrity jokers or clowns will meet me on the field of debate. I will debate with anybody with a sizable channel, whether or not all biblical prophecy is Jesuit or not. If you've got the balls, make a call and I will debate you mano a mano or mano a girlo. But you won't do it because you know you will not jump to my chest because you know you will be defeated. So you'll just sit there and be mistreated. If you feel you've been mistreated, jump to my chest and be defeated. It won't even be a contest. That's why I know I'll get nothing but crickets. I mean, they even tell you in King James, it's about the temple being destroyed. When was the temple destroyed? AD 70. Plastic PJ went out. The disciples said to him, hey, yo, brah, when do you, and they say, look at all these things. Isn't this a great temple? And PJ says, this shit's going to be torn down. They're like, what? Tell us when. And he said, okay, there'll be a lot of people coming saying they're me. They'll deceive many. Oh, you got a lot of people coming in the name of this right here, which isn't even a word in English. This should never even be a word in English. Want me to prove it to you? It's not even a word in English. It's a terrible translation. It's Christos. What's it mean? It means anointing. It means to anoint with oil. It means to consecrate. It means anointing. It means the flow. It ain't a name. It's a thing. But yet you, because you don't have any intellectual integrity, make it a name. Only names are translated across without translation. So this shouldn't say Christ. It should say anointing, flow. But you don't care. And you're wasting your time if you don't care. You might as well go watch something else. But they're going to come in my name. There's a lot of people coming in that name that are deceiving many. Everyone that says they're a prophet are coming in that name and they're deceiving many. But not one of those irrational people are willing to meet me on a moderated, fair debate. You'll hear of wars and rumors of wars. Are you hearing about that now, ladies and gentlemen? This is scripted prophecy. It already happened back in AD 70, but now they're using it to try to make you think it's going to happen again so that you'll sit by and do nothing thinking it's from God, and you'll even cheer them on. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. They'll deliver you up to be afflicted. Did that happen in AD 70? Yes. Will they kill you? Yes, it happened in AD 70. Everybody hated the Jews in AD 70. But Jeff, it says the gospel of the kingdom. I hate to tell you folks, but by AD 70, the gospel had already been preached to the entire known world. End of story. And then when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, we've already showed that's the destruction of Jerusalem. Get the hell out. How hard is that to understand? Don't come back to get your clothes. Get the hell out. Hope you don't have a kid. Hope it's not the Sabbath because they'll close the gates. Get the hell out. And if any man says, go out into the desert with me, don't do it. There's going to be lots of false Christs. There's going to be lots of false prophets. And there were before AD 70. And there's now. Don't go out into the desert. Do you see what that says? Don't go out into the desert and follow some idiot. Don't do it. Don't be stupid. They're trying to make you think that all of this stuff that already happened is going to happen again, and it is going to happen again because they've scripted it to be the thing to beat us down, the ones that know. This is scripted prophecy. It's not prophecy anymore. It's scripted prophecy. They're just trying to convince you that their plan is God's plan, so you believe it's God's plan when it's not their plan. It's just a communist takeover. And now we're going to show you plainly that it is a communist takeover by showing you it in the book of Revelation. Having unmistakably pegged Daniel 9 and Matthew 24 to 70 AD, I'm now going to show you how Revelation 1 through 6 perfectly pegs to that date as well. Context is a wonderful thing, and Christianity ignores it so. Revelation's all about Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian, the Roman emperors that came in with the destruction of Jerusalem. Vespasian was doing the deed. He got called back to be Caesar, left Titus in charge. Titus did the deed, and then Domitian followed Titus when Titus's reign was over. Now, you know, in Revelation chapter 1, I guess I should show it to you. I guess I'll show it to you real quickly because I don't want anybody saying, oh, Jeff doesn't show it. Jeff just tells it. He says he shows it, but he doesn't show it. Jeff always shows it, so Jeff will show it again. Look at Revelation chapter 1. Revelation chapter 1, the 7 churches, right? The 7 churches. And then Revelation chapter 2 is the delivering letters to those 7 churches. It's delivering letters to those 7 churches. And guess what? So is Revelation chapter 3. It's about sending letters to those 7 churches. And then Revelation chapter 4, something else comes into view. So we'll look at that when we get there. But it's important for you to know that Revelation 1, 2, 3 is all about the 7 churches and sending letters to the 7 churches. If you would read Caesar's Messiah and understand the profound work of Joe Atwill, then you know these things. Do you know that all of those 7 so-called churches, the only person that had a church in all 7 of those places was the Emperor Domitian? He had emperor cult worship centers in all 7 of those locations. There weren't Christian churches in all 7 of those locations, but there were Roman emperor cult worship centers in all 7 of those locations. And do you know that there's only one man on earth at that time that it could have delivered letters to all 7 of those places, and his name was Domitian. Why? Because Domitian set up the only postal system capable of delivering letters to all 7 of those locations, which included an emperor church, an emperor cult worship center. I know that this isn't what you were taught. I know this isn't what you believe, but it's the truth. It's reality. You can have your stupid superstitions, or you can know what really happened. Revelation 1, 2, 3 is Domitian talking to his churches and saying that he was going to send letters to them. He's bragging, I'm the only one that can do it. And he's laughing at you for being irrational enough and pea-brained enough not to know and to believe that it's really some holy supernatural thing. It's so simple and so easy. And you ought to kick yourself right in the ass with both feet. Jump up high. You could do it for being so irrational. You're not a bad person. You've just been a stupid person. Forgive yourself and come on over to the side of the smart people. Revelation chapter 4 is where they start setting up the alien PJ foe banner. Rome knew this was coming. They had some contact with beings beyond. Did they use the ark after capturing it? Romans had some dealings with extraterrestrials. Did they use the ark to have dealings with the extraterrestrials? Did they use the ark to have dealings with the interdimensionals? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Did they? They might have. And as we look at Revelation 4 real quickly, just to keep ourselves in context, Revelation chapter 4, I wrote a great book. It's called, what is it called? It's called Final Message of the Last Apostle. And it's, there's one left too. Where's that little thing go? I have one left because it got returned in the mail. This little booklet right here, Alien Agenda in the New Testament, this explains what I'm going to talk about right now. This explains the alien agenda in the New Testament. When you look at this, this is a description. Revelation 4 is a description of a UFO. No doubt about it. It's complete down to the details, a description of a UFO. And when you read it, you know that it's a description of a UFO. They're setting up a faux banner UFO scenario because they might have to use it. So they set it up in the scripted prophecy so that you will have heard it and you'll be willing to buy it. But then they kept going. Then they kept going. And we're going to keep going. Revelation 5. The emperor then, communism now. The usual suspects, you know who they are. They want us to believe that their man is our man and that he is inevitable. The prophets want you to think that scripted prophecy is going to come true. It's been written and there's nothing that can stop it. That's a lie. We can stop it. But so many of you have been dumbed down and have become irrational that you are allowing it to happen because you're believing that it's true and you're actually giving your manifestation to it. And you're going to watch the communists take over our republic and you're going to cheer them on. And then when it's too late, you're going to say, oh, shit, guys, I blew it. I'm giving you a chance to help a brother out before you find out that you just sold us all out. They want us to believe that their man is our man and that he is inevitable. Look at these things we see in Revelation chapter 5, folks. Look at these things we see in Revelation chapter 5. Well, let's look at it real quick. Revelation chapter 5. I'll show it to you. I know this is a lot of data, but we've got to get this stuff out because we're out of time. Revelation chapter 5, you know, it's the Lamb. He's so worthy. He's got the seals. Then we get into Revelation 6, we get the seals. These Revelation 6 seals are describing a communist takeover of the entire world. But since we live in the United States, if you don't live in the United States, you can pretend it's your country. These seals are a description of a communist takeover of the United States of America. And they're written in this fashion so that you will think it's scripted prophecy. You'll think it's biblical prophecy when it's really scripted prophecy. And you'll think that it has to be, instead of realizing that it's a plan by these people to take back dominion over us that they lost in AD 70. A rider on a white horse. Somebody's going to go out conquering and to conquer. What does communism do? It goes forth conquering and to conquer. And to understand this, you've got to look and study every single communist revolution that has ever been. I ask you two questions. Who started it? Who funded it? Answer those two questions, and wouldn't that be a son of a gun if it was always the same people? Look at who has started every communist revolution. Look at who has funded every communist revolution, including this one we're seeing. And you'll begin to see what I'm talking about. And when they go forth conquering and to conquer, what happens? War happens. War happens. War between nations, war within nations. What happens? Peace gets taken from the earth. Are you seeing somebody going forth conquering and to conquer? Yes, you are. Are you seeing peace being taken from the earth? Yes, you are. It's not God's work. It's communist work. And then what happens? Then what happens is famine. Are there been food shortages? Are there going to be food shortages? Yes. It's not God's plan. It's Marx's plan. It's Lenin's plan. It's communism's plan. And you are sitting by doing nothing and cheering it on. And what happens when you have war? You have peace taken from the earth, you have famine. Then what happens? You get death. There's more people dying now than ever before. Death. Doesn't matter that it's not really actually true. It matters that they're telling you it's true. It's part of the communist plan for the takeover of the United States of America. And then what happens? Well, then what happens? Martyrs, souls of them that were slain for holding on to their testimony. That's us, the good people, that are trying to tell you dummies what's going on. And sooner rather than later, they will come for us. And this ties it all right back to Matthew 24. It dates it because the exact same thing happened in Matthew 24. They want to let you know that it's tied back to that, and they want to make you think it's coming again, but it's not. They want it to, but it's not. Because we are going to rise up, and we are going to win, and we are going to be victorious, and they're not going to gain the ascendancy over us anymore. That shit happened back in Matthew 24, AD 70. You got us then. You will not get us now. We see you coming. We know what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of dummies out there that are standing on the sidelines, cheering it on, watching it happen. They don't know, but we know. We know that you do. We know that you do. You do your Judo, and we'll do what we do. May the best man win. And you're not the best man. You're not the best man. You will not win. You will not win. It's all unfolding upon us right now. The X-Gens want it to be God's will, and we're fighting it as God's will because we're gods. We're divine. We're sovereign. We're free. The X-Gens don't want to fight it because they say it's God's will. We, the ones that are divine, sovereign, and free, we're fighting it as God's will because we are gods. Communism goes out to conquer, war across the world. Since the communist push began in 1919, Earth has not seen one single peaceful day since the communists first started in 1919. Find out who funded it. Find out who started it. Famine's a natural consequence of war and communism. Do you know that there's a joke in Cuba? The three greatest failings of the revolution were breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Communism and famine go hand in hand. That's the one good thing that would happen in communism. Some of you people would lose some weight because you wouldn't be able to eat Twinkies all day long anymore. And then death is the natural consequence of war and famine. Seal 5, we're the martyrs. Being killed off because we won't go along with the globalist, New World Order, Sanhedrin, Zio, X-Gen, Com agenda. We won't go along with it. But if you think you're going to kill us all off, you got another thing coming because I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game. Say when. Say when. Seal 6, an obvious tie back to Matthew 24. They hope to turn the trick back on us. They plan to defeat Rome and the rest of us Gentiles once and for all. Cool story, bro. You don't have your supernatural power anymore. Your rat bastard little pissant of a God has been exposed. You don't have the juice you used to have. It's a level playing field. You don't have that supernatural power anymore. The Judo is gone. You do what you do, we'll do what we do. May the best man win. And you are not the best man. Luke's going to give us a perfect summation. He's given us a perfect summation, and this is quoting it word for word, so I won't go to Luke 21:24. It's a perfect summation of the world since 70 AD until today. Luke says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive unto all nations. Who's they? The Jews. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. Jerusalem is under control of the Muslims right now. And how long? Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. They think they're going to be fulfilled by us getting killed, but the times of the Gentiles are going to be fulfilled when, FDR said he'd put a new man on every suit in America. Well, guess what? Unindoctrination, divine, sovereign, and free puts a new man in every suit in America and a new woman in every dress in America. That's how the times of the Gentiles will be fulfilled. That's how the times of the Agarthians will be fulfilled. When we come into our optimization. physically, spiritually, emotionally. When we start kicking ass and taking names, and we do so much of it, there's no need to kick ass or take names anymore, because everybody's divine, sovereign, and free that wants to be. That's how the times of the Gentiles will really be fulfilled. It's a level playing field now. You don't have that judo anymore. May the best man win. In AD 70, the usual suspects fell by the edge of the sword. Since then, they've been captives in all nations. Since then, they've seen their holy city occupied by Gentiles. Isaiah 63:18 says, the people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries have trodden down the sanctuary and still are. They think it's going to be fulfilled. It is, but not the way they think it's going to be fulfilled. Alas, for that great day, there's none like it. It's the time of Jacob's trouble. You're in it. If you're in Jacob, you're in trouble. If you're in any Abrahamic religion, you're in trouble. You're not going to be saved out of it. You think you are. You hope you are. You thought until a few years ago you probably would, but you're not. For in that day, says the rat bastard, I'll break his yoke from off thy neck. I'll burst thy bonds. Strangers will not serve themselves of him. This is all about the chosen people not having to be overrun by the Gentiles anymore. Cool story, bro. For it will come to pass in that day, says I, Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. I will burst thy bonds. Strangers shall no more serve themselves of you, but they shall serve the Lord their God and David their king, who I will raise up unto them. Yeah, that's what they were saying in AD 70 as well. That's what they were saying in AD 69 and AD 68. Good luck with that. It might have been different when you still had that portal. It might have been different when you still had that temple. It might have been different when you still had all the advantages. But good luck with that. It's a level playing field. May the best man win. I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? Do you realize that one of the reasons why they were so strong, the usual suspects, is because they were having that daily sacrifice? And if you think it was just lambs and goats, you're wrong. And one of the great things that President Trump did was expose. One of the great things that Fight Club did was expose the daily sacrifice. And they can't do like they used to do anymore. Paul chimes in, I wouldn't have you ignorant, brethren, or be wise in your own conceits. Blindness has happened in Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles comes in. It ain't coming in like you think it's coming in. It's coming in to take over and make sure all men are divine, sovereign, and free that want to be. And anybody that wants to capture other people are going to be dealt with accordingly. For it's given unto the Gentiles. The holy city shall be tread under 42 months. It literally means a full testing period, namely 2. I want to go to this because this shows you something really, really powerful. Thank you, sweetheart. This shows you something really, really powerful. I want to go to Revelation 11:2 just for a minute, because this is stuff you won't see unless you're watching me. I wish it weren't true, but you won't. This is stuff you won't see unless you're watching me. I wish it weren't true, but it is. Watch this, Revelation 11, because the rest of them are afraid of this. They can't show it to you because they know that they can't sell what they're selling if you see what this means. And what we're looking at right here is it'll be tread underfoot 42 months. It's not 42 months. Watch this. Watch this. You've got to see this. It's amazing. So, trample the holy city for 42 months. Thanks, babe. Thank you. Good night, babe. 42 months. And you got idiots thinking this is literal too, but I'm not even going to touch it. 42 months. What does it mean? Again, it's an indeclinable numeral. It means 40. It means a time of crisis. It means a time of having to successfully pass through to know the divine's approval. It's this word too, a 40, a modified. It's from thesaurus, which is 4, symbolizes universality. It's not just for the chosen people, it's for everybody. And it's also a modified form of deca, which means 10, double. Double. It's symbolically double. Jeff, what are you trying to get at? Well, watch this. It's symbolically double, ladies and gentlemen. And it's an indeterminate time that's symbolically doubled. It's double. It's in the New Testament, whenever you see Jesus say verily, verily, that's because it's a double emphatic. That's as strong as you can say something in the Greek language. So this has been made doubly stated. It's been stated double to you. For it's given a literal testing time, namely 2 testing times, a double time of testing. So this time of the Gentiles is a double time of testing. It literally means 2 full testing periods. What's a testing period? Well, the first thing that came to my mind about what is a testing period was Psalm 90:4. For 1,000 years is as a day. 2 Peter 3:8. Don't be ignorant. With the rat bastard, 1,000 years is a day, and 1,000 years is like a day is like 1,000 years. What if the time of testing is 1,000 years, but remember it's doubled? So it's namely 2, or it could be called 2. There's a time of testing for we, the non-chosen people. We're being tested. And we've had a full testing period of 1,000 years, or we're told it's 2. The reason I say that is because it might not be 2. They might have added 1,000 years to history, but the time of testing is 1,000 years. That's the time of our testing, the non-chosen people. But even in their economy, it's been 2,000 years since AD 70, the time of our testing. Almost. But if you look at it, 2,000 years from 70 AD would be 2150. It'd be 20. Let me do that math again. I'm not really good at math. So 21, what is it? It's 2021. So I'm doing the math real quick. 2021 minus 70 equals 1951. What was I thinking? Oh, so there's 49 more years left in their 2,000 years. It's been 1,951 years since the 2,000 years, which is the testing of the Gentiles. But 49, they're 49 short. And guess what 49 is, ladies and gentlemen? 49 is the Jubilee. So what does that mean? That means that we've had 2,000 years of that Judo that they used to do with that portal, but we've had 2,000 years to get our shit together and realize that we are not supposed to be the bottom. We're not supposed to be under the circumstances. We're not supposed to be the tail. We've had 2,000 years to figure out we're not born of the original sin, but we got the spark of divinity within. We've had 2,000 years to figure out we don't have to go and bend a knee to somebody else's savior. We've had 2,000 years to figure out that we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. Maybe it's only 1,000, and they told us it was 2. But guess what? We're 49 years shy, and since 49 is a Jubilee, I say, fuck it. Let's break free right now. Let's break free right now. They have no more supernatural power. They are almost out of time. That's why they're pulling out all the stops today. We have won. We just have to enforce our victory. We've got many enemies across the spectrum, but we have won. We have won. Jacob's trouble is just getting started. Why? Because as my lovely wife says, they have gone and pissed off the folk. They've pissed off the folk that just wanted to be left alone. They pushed us too far. You know, they call us dogs. They should have let these sleeping dogs lie because they thought we were sleeping dogs, but little did they know we are sleeping gods. And now these gods are awake. We're out of bubble gum, and we're here to kick some ass and take some names. Jacob, your trouble's just getting started. Run away now. Surrender now. Leave our land now. We'll let you go, but if you think you're taking over, you got another thing coming. We know your prophecy is communism. We know communism is your prophecy. We are not watching it anymore. We are resisting it. And we will, may the best man win. That's all I've got to say. May the best man win. And I don't think that you are the best men. In fact, I'm certain that you're not. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. I know a lot of you use CBD. A lot of you put the lotions on your face to make your skin look really nice. You use the I point over to my nebulizer. You use those smelly, nice oils. Help me help you get those things from me here at whistleblowercbd.com. Help a brother out. Help a brother out. And you know what? I'm going to have to take a break in a minute, but let's throw open the lines right now. You're not going to be able to see what happens. See, can I do the green screen behind me again? Will it work now? No, it won't. That's weird. Huh? So you're just going to have to read the ticker. The phone number is 913-279-0831. It's 913-279-0831. If you have a question about what I presented, you can call in and ask that. If you have a comment about what I presented, you can call in and ask that. And where's all my Bible scholars? Where's all my great Bible scholars? Huh? Where are you guys? I don't hear nothing out of you but crickets. Where are all you Bible scholars? All you guys that know it all. Where are you? It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, it's John in Tulsa, and guess what? I don't have a tumor.
Beautiful. I'm so glad to hear that, brother.
Yeah, it must be just my doctor thinks I just had too much veneers in one ear, give me fits in there, getting some new medication to try that.
Well, that is great news.
Surgery.
That's great news. Yeah. We're getting great news from all the cousins, people walking again who thought they're going to lose their legs, you not having a tumor. Glad to hear it, John. Thanks so much for sharing that.
So I want to be in line with you guys, helping you out on this deal. And I wanted to say that, are you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wanted to say that preterism is something you can read about, too, that talks about most of the things you talked about tonight.
What is it? What is it? What kind of ism?
Called preterism. It's talking about all that stuff happened at that time during Jerusalem. Everything happened then.
Everybody absolutely.
Future, but yeah, so that's another place. I tried to tell some Latter-day Saints friends of mine that this has already taken place. All this stuff is already over, and we don't need to go in the desert and follow all these prophets and things.
We don't.
And they just look at me like I'm stupid. But I mean, I try to tell them, but they won't listen.
Well, I appreciate it, John. Thanks so much, and it's good to hear your great news. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Get Dagger. What's going on?
Hey, brother. How's it going?
Good. I'm doing great. My dad's doing a lot better. He's
Excellent.
He's lifting himself up now, so I don't have to. My mom and I don't have to worry about our backs lifting him up. He's doing a lot more things on his own, so
Wow,
he's
that's
looking really good. And I just got my not my CBD, my nanosoma in the mail today, so looking forward to using that. My mom and my dad and myself start using that.
Just
right away,
remember, it can give you some what's the word? Some like it'll clear you out a little bit. So just be prepared for that.
Oh, my dad's got that already. So
okay.
And I fast all the time. So, and my mom could use some clearing. So
okay, so that's the only caution I give you.
That. Yeah, no, for sure. And since we're talking about communism, I just saw today that our lovely Prime Minister here, Trudeau Jr., gave a loan of $3 billion to China recently. So
yeah, because China needs Canada's money.
Exactly. So like I saw that and I'm like, really? We have to give more money to them? Like we're already buying enough of their crap, their junk, and everything else. And I saw that and I'm like they need loans from us. They've got more money. They got your money. They got so much U.S. money in their country. They don't need any of ours.
It's just ridiculous.
They need the loan. It is.
Well, Dagger, thanks for the great report. I really appreciate it. That's fantastic news. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, this is Mr. A, and I just want to say that next time, okay, real quickly, we live in a bubble. 7 plus continents, all living under one bubble, and there's probably a group of bubbles which make suds. So next time we do dishes or create some soap suds, take a look at the bubble of the soap suds and say, hey, wonder which bubble we're in. And that is all.
Wow, deep thoughts from Mr. A. That's some good stuff. That's some really good stuff. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeff. I really do appreciate your presentation tonight and what you were talking about with double emphatics, like the 2,000 years. Obviously, it's probably not 2,000 years. It's probably only been 1,000. Do you think that there's any correlation with Dungeons and Dragons and the D20 dice?
I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, man. Back when that was big, that was still a sin to me, so I didn't even have anything to do with it. And
my mom
no
gave me
understanding.
this book called Playing with Fire that was all about like how evil Dungeons and Dragons was and whatnot.
Well, I used to think that bowling was evil in Disney World. So, I remember one time I was preaching at this one church. I made a joke. I said, this was back when bowling was still a sin. And somebody yells out, it still is. I'm like, okay, I'm in the wrong place.
Yep. Roller skating and watching movies and listening to secular music, it's all frowned upon.
Anything that was fun was sin. Don't you know that?
Basically, yeah. And don't you think there's something to that? Like how conservatives ultimately conserve nothing. Like look at how much the so-called moral, upright, religious people have cucked on their stances on things.
Terrible.
Like
it's
especially
terrible.
Abortion.
Yeah. It's terrible. What else is on your mind, Brandon?
Just trying to stay positive, really tired lately. I think Cynthia was mentioning that there's stuff going on with the sun. So I would imagine that's
Cynthia
why we missed her
and
last
her
night.
craziness. I mean, some of the things she comes up with, I'm not so sure about, but one of the things I am sure about though is that nanosoma.
Pretty close to the divine.
That nanosoma, Brandon. That's some great stuff. That nanosoma, it really is. You got to get it. Oh, and Thursday night on this show, we'll have the nanosoma guy himself on. So bring your nanosoma questions.
I'm excited. I just ordered 3 bottles of it, so I'm really looking forward to getting some benefits out of those.
Oh, you will.
Alcohol.
I mean, Catherine was saying that she took it, and her Catherine from Ohio said that her energy is off the charts, and you know how good a girl Catherine is. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. It'd be really weird if this was Catherine, but I don't think it is.
No, it's Delaney.
Hey, Delaney, what's up?
So, here, people gonna get fucked, right? Fired under correct knowledge, emotions destroyed. You have fucked all of your debaters tonight.
Wow. I appreciate it. Thank you, Delaney, Black Pearl Jones. That's a lot of wisdom there. Lots of wisdom. We do still have the sprays. I still use them all the time. I'm going to tell myself I don't use the sleep spray anymore because I use the LifeWave patch. And I didn't like the taste of the sleep spray, and the LifeWave patch that goes behind your ear works better. But yeah, I have the immunity sprays. I've got the keto spray because I'm doing the keto. I'll give a few sprays, gives you a jump, and that's from the Whistleblower CBD. You'll see what he's talking about. The sprays, they're amazing stuff. So yes, indeed, we do still have the sprays. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey, Shane here.
Hey, Shane, what's up?
Not a whole lot. Great show tonight. Great presentation. I wanted to add something to what Brandon was talking about. I don't know much about Dungeons and Dragons either, but during your presentation, I thought many times about the timeline and the whole 1,000-year addiction proposal, which there is a lot of even visual evidence on coin and even in old letters that were written. And the one may simply have been an I. So 3,000 or,
right. Absolutely.
344 could have been I-44. And then after the great takeover, now that becomes 1344. And it would make up for a lot of, the dark periods and the unexplained timelines, and just a fascinating. I'd love to see you do a show on even some of like going into San Francisco, and then within a period of 30 years, we've got these great fucking structures, and we just showed up in horse and buggy. A lot of great lies, and I think that's right up your alley as far as timeline and
yeah, very interesting. I'll make a note of that. That sounds like good shit.
Yeah, look into Tartaria.
Yeah, I've been looking into that. We're gonna get Barnabas Nagy back on and talk about that too.
There's some really other great guests as well.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for that. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Shanann. Hi. I'm not going to ask you how you are. I just wanted to talk to you about a dream I had a few days ago. I've explained to you before about how after I invited the J-Man into my world, I had some pretty bad demonic paranormal experiences. But a couple of nights ago, and I can't shake the dream off, I was fully asleep, and the dream, I was running around. It was dark.
You might be able to shake it off if you quit saying you can't shake it off, but I'll just throw that out there.
Thank you. But I was running around in this dream, and I picked up a piece of paper in the dream, and I flipped it over, and there was a picture of Jesus. And I went to rip up the photo in my dream, and Jeff, it was like all of a sudden it felt so real too. There was like a vortex, and I got sucked into this vortex, and there was white noise, and all I could hear was these children's voices screaming, "Mommy, Daddy," but they were like lost and far away.
Wow.
And even after I woke up out of this dream, I was shook up, and it's still sort of disturbing me. It felt so real. I just wanted to let people know it's really disturbing what's going on behind the scenes with the power of that name and the energy.
Absolutely. And your dream, aside, whether it's legit or not, those things are happening, and you're certainly being tuned into the horror of it. And I thank you for calling up and letting us know that, yes, folks, that stuff is real. The things that and think about that word, Israel, and is real. Is it real? Is real. And maybe there's a connection. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Jeff, I wanted to do a follow-up call and ask you about something. Are you familiar with Ginny Thwaite and John Lamb Lash?
I am familiar with the latter, not the former.
Okay. I was going to say John Lamb Lash would be a really good guest for your show. I've been talking with actually Catherine in Ohio. She turned me on to listening to a lot of what he has been discussing and how like Gaia and Sophia and stuff like that.
Yeah, we had it out many years ago, so I don't know if I'm on his bad list again, but I'll reach out to him again.
Yeah, I think it would be a really interesting show. I mean, it would be a good idea to have people on that maybe you don't necessarily 100% agree with, but
100%
still have good information. And good talking and jumping off points.
And so, no doubt his classic book, Not in His Image, is one of the more important books ever written.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Oh, you've got to read that book. It's amazing. But warning, it's a long book and it's really hard to put down. So clear some time. It's called Not in His Image, John Lash Lamb.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Yes. Hello and namaste, Mr. Incredible.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here in California, 67 years old, and I want to spew out a few minutes of my wisdom of life.
Go ahead.
My dad was a World War II veteran on the battleship Pennsylvania with the Admiral of the Pacific all the way to Japan. He's the officer controlling all our radio communications.
Interesting.
And my mom was a woman in Britain. They called it WACS, Women's Air Corps. And she took the men out to the bomber planes, the American bomber planes. And if they made it home, she'd take them out for a breakfast. And so I have some history with me. I'm the elder in my senior, and my sister's about to die in cancer in San Francisco.
Ooh, sorry to hear that.
So, well, yeah, that's the reality you have to deal with, because you've got to have a backbone to get through this.
You do.
And you're very inspirational and inspiring and educating. But what I wanted to say, so my dad is an architect. I've been a contractor, built some 40 homes, but my dad worked for the Department of Defense and the Federal Reserve and all kinds of amazing things, plus designing homes for people, right? So I know how to get my hands on and get dirty and build a building and a home and a landscape for people, right?
Okay.
So I'm retired. But when I say what I want to ask is, I've been puzzled for the past 34 years as I've traveled the world and found things. It's like, how the fuck did that building get built? Whether it's a Donald Trump skyscraper in the mega cities of this world, or, you know, the sewer system and the electrical system and this and that and the other, I'm still scratching my head for 40 years. It's like Egypt, the Mayan temples.
I understand there's a lot of that, and we simply just don't know. And it's
and the thing is, it was man by man picking up a brick. I've been in the Himalayas and looked at a mountain, and, you know, 100-mile high up the hill of stone wall terraces for growing rice paddies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how did that get built?
Who knows? But we don't know, and there's more to the story than what we're being told. That's for sure. Thanks for calling that. Thanks for sharing that. We appreciate you sharing some of your spiritual heritage with us. Very, very powerful stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. And right now we're going to take a little break. And when we get back, we will finish up the rest of the time with your calls. And it'll be like, 15, 20 minutes or so. And this is Late Night in the Heartland. It's always good to hear you here. It's always good to have you here. This is going to be a short message from you heard us talking about the patches. Well, these are the patches, people. And these are not no stinking patches. These are some really good patches. It's called LifeWave Profound Technology. Have a look, and I'll be right back after this for more of your calls.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light to stimulate the body's natural healing systems, providing specific health benefits. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and the ability to heal itself. Let's take a look at why this is important on a cellular level. For example, a number of our patch products help counteract free radicals, oxygen molecules that damage cell proteins and contribute to visible signs of aging. When the body is stimulated through phototherapy to release its own antioxidants, these free radicals are neutralized naturally. LifeWave phototherapy patches promote an environment that enables the body to optimize its restorative powers and provide specific health benefits, all without the use of harmful drugs or chemicals, all helping you to stay healthy and young. To find out more, contact your distributor or visit lifewave.com. LifeWave. Live long, live well.
And you can find that right here on jeffreydaugherty.com. Just go to the LifeWave logo. And those X39 patches, that's the place to start. They rebuild and re-stimulate stem cells. No reason to go through expense. I mean, it's just powerful stuff. And we're going back to your calls. As soon as I get it to pop up again. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. This is Joni from Florida.
Hi, Joni.
Hi. Just one funny thing, and then I have a question. The other night you were talking about, was the U.S. a prison? And my dad, from when I was little, he always said that our ancestors were crooked English lawyers deported to the penal colonies.
And that's about the truth too. So that's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, I have one question. I asked it in the chat room, but I think you're not supposed to ask questions there, so I retracted it.
That's all right.
Specifically, what is Fight Club? I've heard you say it, and I think I might know, but I just wanted to be specific about what, if you can even say it. Yeah. I don't know.
I can't tell you what it is, but it probably is what you think it is, because there's some things you can't see on YouTube. But Fight Club 17 has to do with the alphabet. I think you can figure it out from there. So that's what Fight Club is, ladies and gentlemen, because we all know the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent.
Hey, just commenting on, basically we're kind of in a war, it seems like, on different levels. But I see watching the weather that you're about to get hit by another weird winter storm.
I hope so, because the water's starting to warm up. I need my plunging for a while.
Anyway, I'm saying that I think these are the weather's being manipulated, and it's actually a war against the heartland. And Chuck Schumer came on after Texas got destroyed, and he could almost barely hide his glee. And he's Texas thought they could go at it alone. Turns out they were wrong. Anyway, I think there's a war going on.
Very, very evil. I think you're right. I don't doubt it for a second. And it's a war we're going to win. They think they're going to take us down. They're wrong. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's John again. I wonder if sometime, or you may even know about this already, but there's some people that believe that the black people were part of actually the tribe of Judah, and that they were taking that verse in Luke you're talking about, making captives in all nations, that maybe some of that took place, and there were in Spain, there were black leaders that were in the royal families. The city of Timbuktu were way ahead of England when they were going through the Dark Ages. They had libraries and all kinds of crap. I just wonder if you'd ever do a show on that, or if you've heard anything on that.
I don't know, John. I'll ponder it. It doesn't really resonate powerfully with me, but yeah, I'll definitely take it under advisement. I'll think it over. I'll think it over. That's just one of those things that it just doesn't really hit me, right between the eyes, so to speak. So anyway, Mr. Ray says he's black and knows he's not from Africa. I can see that. I can understand that. I agree there probably are weather weapons. There's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know. There's a lot of stuff happening that we don't understand. But all we have to do is understand that we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. All we have to do is know that we don't have original sin. We got the spark of divinity within, and it'll all work out all right. We've just got to get our heads straight. We've just got to get our stuff together, and it is going to be okay. No doubt about it. It is going to be okay. You can still call in. The phone number is not on the screen anymore. Let me put the phone number back up there. We lost our green screen. So where's that number? Where's that number? There it is. Okay. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Green.
Hello, you're live. Not anymore. You're not. I guess the cat got your tongue. And again, I sit here in wonderment because when I get off of here, let's see. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Question for the rods.
Okay.
And it's kind of related to a question I asked before, but is King Tut a code name for a machine?
That's interesting. Is King Tut the code name for a machine? I would have said no, but the rods say yes.
Okay. And is my blueprint correct?
It's on the right track, but it's not correct yet.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Only on Late Night in the Heartland do you get stuff about King Tut and blueprints and stuff like that. Wow. That's very, very interesting. But it continues to amaze me how we can do a show proving that Bible prophecy is communism, that communism is Bible prophecy. And I'll have 50 emails and 47 comments tomorrow telling me how stupid I am and how wrong I am and how I know nothing about the Bible. But where are all these geniuses when I'm paying for the phone system? That costs me $500 a year. I'm paying for the phone system. I'm opening up the phone lines. Where are all these brave, heroic Bible teachers? Where are all these prophets? Where's all the prophets? Where's all the people that line up and tell everybody how wrong Jeffrey Daugherty is? Where are they? Maybe they're all taking a dump. Maybe they all lost their voice from too much homosexual activity in their throat. I don't know where they are. Where are they? Certainly not picking up the phones and calling in. So I guess that just means what it means. They must be scared. You're right, Tim. They must be scared. Where's God's army? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for that, Krista. She says, I'm the only one who's ever made sense. I really do appreciate that. And, and she says they only work Sunday, Kirk says. But I have a call-in show on Sunday, too. Not Your Normal Sunday, they never called in either. Why? Because they're all afraid. And you got to ask, though, can you blame them? There's no way to come against that stuff. No way to come against that. Yeah, we're still looking for Jesus to come back. He's not going to come back because he doesn't even exist. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is late night in the Heartland. The phone lines are open, 913-279-0831. Tomorrow we have Dr. Shiva on at 10 a.m. for a great interview. And tomorrow night we'll be right back here at 10 p.m. And then, of course, we also have on Thursday the Nanosoma gentleman. His name is Richard, and he'll be with us on Late Night in the Heartland. That'll be a fun time as well. I thought I saw a call pop up, but I guess I was mistaken. A very rare break in the calls, ladies and gentlemen. A very rare break in the calls. But hey, that's all right. And we get people that just want to put sarcastic remarks in the chat, but can't pick up a phone. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, what's going on, Jeffrey? My call dropped earlier, man. My bad. Got shitty Wi-Fi, but hey, I just wanted to give a quick testimony, man, just to your show and just how much is opening up my eyes, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, yeah, man. So, like, obviously, a lot of the pedo shit, like, they're big into symbols. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of them being the circular one, the blue one.
Yeah.
So I was on YouTube, and I noticed that, like, I'm real into, like, the marijuana industry or whatever. And I noticed that one of the big followers, he had a jean jacket on, and he was giving an interview, and it was, like, covered in this shit.
Oh.
And, yeah, and on top of that, he's a big-time Jew.
Interesting. We're not going to say that word, though, that way.
Yeah. My bad.
But I know what you mean.
But anyway, all I did was just simply posted the jean jacket, screenshot of that, and a screenshot of what the FBI says that symbol means. The amount of attacks that I had, man, of people just, you would really go there, this and that, and literally lawsuits being thrown, everything like that. Like, I had to delete all social media just for that.
Well, it's the truth anyhow, and I'm glad that you had the guts to share it. I really am. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. Please turn down your background sound and tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah, Jeffrey, this is Ron in Bangladesh.
Hi, Ron. Nice to hear from you.
Great show as usual. Loving I can just get right in when I call. And
well, I always see the international line, so I go to it.
Oh, awesome. And so what I'm wondering, I've mentioned you're talking about the prophets and prophecy today, and the great prophet. I have to be careful. I do live in that place.
Right.
And so I'm so excited for one day that you put that together as a show. But of course, I recognize it you have to evaluate the risk.
Right.
On anything you say with that. But there's like 1.5 billion of these people.
Yep.
And boy, how do we reach them in this setting with to bring them away from that Abrahamic world?
That's a great point. That really is.
And so, yeah, that's one reason I'm here, working that angle. But I just wanted to push that again. If you want to get in touch, please do. I could probably lead you in some areas of this.
I'll do that.
We'll go from here. But thanks for your work, man. You're just a great inspiration, and I'm grateful you're there, especially in this crazy hour of the world.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to call in from Bangladesh. We really appreciate that. And it was a Bangladeshi guy that was the focus of arguably my greatest quote-unquote miracle when I was in the ministry. This was a Bangladeshi guy in Frankfurt, Germany, that I prayed for. He had no eyeballs, just empty eye sockets, and new blue eyes grew in his head in 30 seconds. I know you don't believe me, but I don't even really care. That was pretty amazing. That or the floating witch doctor. I don't know which one takes the cake, but pretty good stuff. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, cuz, how are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
This is Fish.
Hey, Fish.
Hey, man. I went down for that therapy yesterday, and they got my leg all wrapped. I got some problems with some arteries or something. So,
well, keep pushing, man. Keep pressing. We appreciate you, and we're proud of you working so hard.
Well, Rod told me I was, so I will. I got faith. I mean, I know I will.
I know you will.
My girlfriend's in here listening to you tonight.
Excellent.
Because you put on an awesome show, man. But I wanted to ask you, you ever heard of a civilian suing anybody in government?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, why can't I press charges on the top down over there in the White House?
I think you should be able to, and I hope that you continue to press on with your therapy. I'm going to try to sneak in one more call. Always good to hear from you, Fish. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Jeffrey, hey man, I want to run something by you that you can either validate it or poo-poo it, either one. You know who Jordan Maxwell is, first of all?
I do.
Know who he is? If we have time, we'll get to that. If we don't, it's okay.
We don't. We've only got 2 minutes.
Okay. The God of, I figured this out, and you can validate it or not. I say that a creator exists, but it's not the God of the Bible. So
absolutely,
that's
100%.
The confusion, and that's the convolution. Do you think that's valid?
I think that is 100% correct. Absolutely.
I can't make that case as well as I would like to three people who are hardcore Christians who I wish would listen to you, because you have reiterated about a million things that I have postulated, and I cannot, get through to these particular three people, and I would like to have a card to play, but I don't have. Yeah. I have a million to play, but it's hard to validate them, you see.
I do. And, at the end of the day, it's not your job. I know that you want to, but, do your best. And then you just have to leave the rest to the creator. And that's really what it's all about. It's not a give up. It's just, that is what it is. We appreciate you all so very much. It's been a great night here in the Heartland. This is the greatest audience anywhere. There's no doubt about it. And I enjoy being with you each and every night. I want to say thanks to all the cousins for being here. Thanks to all the visitors for being here. And thanks to all the trolls, too. And I still don't know why, with all of these great, wonderful, powerful Christians we have out there, that not one of them can pick up the phone and call. We know why. But how do they live with themselves, not being able to defend their stories? It's been late night in the Heartland, and I want to thank you for making my day. I'll see you early tomorrow, 10 a.m. Dr. Shiva.